Hi everybody, it's Jess. Welcome back to my channel. I figured I would pop in today since it is, let me count, 4 days from October 1st, which means Preptober starts if you are participating in NaNoWriMo. And you are, what do they call it, if you're a prepster. So if you've participated in NaNoWriMo, or even if you haven't, and you're one of those writers that doesn't need to like pre-plan things or outline or anything like that, God bless you, because I am not one of those people. Which is funny because when it comes to everything else in life, I am totally like a fly by the seat of my pants type of person. But when it comes to writing, I have to have it super organized or I'll get nothing done. So for those of us who are planners, typically the month of October is used to plan out your entire month of November in order to ensure that you have a successful month of writing. So I'm going to do this in two parts, at least two parts. Part one, which I'm going to do right now, I'm going to show you guys all of the worksheets and journals and graphs, like any tools that I use to prepare myself that way for NaNoWriMo, and I'll kind of walk you guys through everything, let you know what I use for, like which tools I use for what, and then my next video, I'm going to walk you guys through my Scrivener program. So Scrivener is a word processing software, but it's basically meant for people who write long form, so script writers, novelists, anything like that. It's also really good to me, I think, for preparation of writing a novel. So part two, if you're interested in Scrivener or you have the program and you're not sure where to start with it, that video will be great for you to check out. But for today, I'm going to show you what's in my prep folder. So first thing is starting my Nano notebook. Now, this is not something that everybody does, but for me, this is what I use to keep myself on track throughout the month. So throughout October, I will add more and more to this. So you can see I've got NaNoWriMo 2018. I always like to make my covers appealing. So, and I just bought a line-free notebook because I like to draw diagrams and kind of have space to structure my journal different on different days, I guess. But the first thing I did is I created myself a chart, and you can see it's a little bookshelf. I'm actually going to go through, and these are things I'll probably show you throughout my vlogs. Last year, man, that's what I should have done. I have my completed bookshelf from last year, so you would see on that, my next video, I'll show it to you. I had like little lamps and plants and like a little cat sleeping on one of the shelves. So like I go through and I draw little details in there just to give it some more character, I guess. Sorry about the lighting, you guys. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Is this a little better? I don't know. It's really bright in here. So anyway, but each of these books represents 1,000 words. So for me, I have to like still move this. What is going on? Okay. Guess this is where we're going. Sorry, guys. Anyway, so yeah, this is my bookshelf. So I have 50 books here, which obviously represents 50,000 words written. So every day as I write, I color in a book for each 1,000 words I've written. So some days I'm only coloring one little book. Some days maybe 2 or 3. I don't ever, if I only write like 500 words in a day, I don't do like a half book. I just wait until I get to that 1,000. And you'll see when I go through my Scrivener, I'll show you guys how I keep track of my cumulative words written. If you use the NaNoWriMo website, they have a tracking device as well. So for me, I just like to triple, quadruple check how much I'm writing. So I keep track of it on the NaNoWriMo website. I keep track of my word count through Scrivener. I keep track of it on this chart. And then when I do my day by day, which I haven't started yet, I'll also have like daily word count and then cumulative word count. So I know exactly where I stand no matter what I'm looking at or what I'm doing. But yeah, I just found this to be a really cute way to keep track of my progress. And then at the end of it, it's like a little souvenir. So like I said, when I film my next video, I'll make sure to include my finished bookshelf from last year, just so you can see what it looks like. I actually did mean to bring it with me for this video, but I am silly and forgot. But yeah, I just think it's like a cute little thing to have at the end. You don't have to do something like this. I just thought I would show it because I find it like a fun way to keep track of my progress. I've seen people do like line graphs or bar graphs, anything at all that helps you keep track. But for me, this is just like a fun way of motivating myself. So at the front, I'll always work on this as I get through my words, and then what I'm going to start working on in October as preparation is I'll go through and have like November 1st, daily word count, total word count, and then leave a space for myself to journal. So if you couldn't tell by my bookshelf, I just like things to be really visually appealing for myself throughout NaNoWriMo. So I'll probably do like bubble boxes, or maybe even get some cool cutouts from magazines for borders, just to make every page different and, I don't know, unique looking, I guess. Because, and I'll show you this when I show you my notebook from last year. I keep my Nano journals not only as a reference, because when I journal at the end of each day of writing, I'll kind of like talk about what scenes I worked on, if there were any difficulties, if anything big changed in my plot. That way, when I go back and review my draft of my book, I'll be able to look at my notes and see like, oh, on November 15th, this character I decided is no longer relevant to the story, so I scrapped them. Or, like it's just a way to give yourself an overview of what happened, and to me, I find it really useful to have after the fact. So the nicer it looks, the more organized it is. I think that makes it just more helpful to review the material. So this is something I'll keep on me from now till after NaNoWriMo, because it's kind of like my, what's a good word for it? I mean, it's just a journal to go over what I did. So it's just like a really good reference guide, I guess. So that's what I have to start. And then for me, now this is kind of different from my book because I'm including actual like visual art in the story. So I have like a tangible purpose to do this. But even last year, before I had decided to include like real art in the book, I did this anyway just as like a way to storyboard. So I keep a plastic bag of magazine clippings. So last year, because like I said, I hadn't made the decision to include visual art in the novel. Like now it's going to be incorporated, but last year I didn't do that. So what I had acquired was magazine clippings that I could use to kind of like do like mood boards for my characters. So it was more artsy than anything at all. But this, we're not artsy. That's all artsy. I don't know what I'm talking about today, you guys. I guess it was more of an inspiration thing last year. But for this, pieces of this will end up being, if it all works out the way I'm planning, in my novel. So anything that's interesting that I think I could use, I have this. I found this little like ballerina dancer, old advertising for different things, and then any phrases, so like important, the dirt, what else? Just little things like anything, and this is like the very beginning of this for me. So as I start to draft this will be the second draft of my novel. Basically what I'm doing for my NaNoWriMo is a total rewrite on the book I started last year. So the characters are more or less the same, but the story has taken many twists and turns. So as I write and as I prep for the book, I will be acquiring more in this handy dandy bag, but I keep this with all my prep materials, especially now before anything's like fully developed. But you can do what you want. If you are someone who likes to draw or paint, you can always do your storyboarding or your mood boards that way. If you like collage like I do, you can feel free to do something like this. If you're not into that at all, totally cool, but this is just something I wanted to show you because it's a big part of my writing process. I had made copies of this. If you notice, this is the same text that I used here, so I don't know, I just figured if I needed extra copies of this, I have like a page of them. What else? I might even just put that like on this envelope. Okay, so then the last thing I want to talk about here. There's this really, really great website, and it is, hold on one second, I wrote it down so I don't give you guys the wrong information. So it's eadeverell.com, eadeverell.com. And it's the website of Eva Deverell. She is a writer and creative writing teacher, basically. So on her website, she does something called Worksheet Wednesday. So every Wednesday she releases a new worksheet that gives you different writing strategies, or a different writing exercise or a prompt or whatever. So once a week minimum, you can expect that. She also writes ebooks that teach you how to write or help you formulate your first novel. She does different tutorials and online classes that you can take. She journals her own writing process, so you can kind of look and see what she's doing at any given point in time. And I really love her website because she has a section just for readers. She has a section just for writers. She has a section just for poets. And then she has like a whole just like online community. So I found her last year just through searching Pinterest for different writer's prompts when I was prepping for NaNoWriMo. And obviously on Pinterest there's a lot of really good information, but I found that the items that were most helpful for me all came from Eva Deverell's website. So I will just show you a few of the pieces that I've gotten ready for my own Preptober. So this is something I used last year, and it was extremely helpful. So she has a Preptober schedule, and how this comes when you print it out, or if you use it just on your computer, is 2 pages. So you can see that's the second page, that's the first page. So what's really nice about this is if you have no idea where to start with your prepping, she does a really good job of giving you different prompts to help you prepare. So she has like something you can do is go on the NaNoWriMo website and announce your word count goal. Choose a plot formula, write a synopsis, decide what your POV is going to be in your novel. Journal what your perfect November would look like. Journal what you love about your main characters. Make a list of character names. Create a rough timeline for your character. Outline your ending. Plan a writing routine and schedule. So what I did in October, how many of these does she have? I'm silly. So she has 30 different prompts. So this is basically a prompt a day for the entire month of October minus a day. So if you follow and you do just one of these a day, you'll be able to prep yourself in 30 different ways, and they're all useful to the writing of a novel. If you already have an idea, if you've done NaNoWriMo a bunch, or you just know exactly what you need to do to prepare yourself, she also gives you a blank, so you can kind of create your own schedule. Obviously, I haven't done that yet because last year I found this to be really helpful, so I'm going to go through and do all of this. And then what I did on this left-hand column here is I have book-specific tasks. So because this is my second draft, I kind of already have an idea of things that I need to get done. So I have different things I need to research, character building and which particular characters I need to work on. There's a logo I need to create for one of the art pieces I was talking about. One of my characters is a poet, so I want to write some poetry as that character before I start getting into the novel. Deciding whether certain characters are staying or going from the last draft. So I plan on throughout October, I will probably add to this, like especially once I really dig into my prep, I'll kind of have more of a direction of where I want to go. And then once I decide that, I'll probably start filling in some of these bubbles, because obviously, because this is my first draft, like I don't need to really write a synopsis. I don't really need to decide my genre. Like the book is pretty much there, but I kept this because I will end up doing enough of these to warrant this useful. But like I said, I do expect for this list to get longer, and I expect to fill some of these bubbles out. So I think this will be more general in terms of like worksheets that I'm using, prompts, different things I need to do logistically, whereas the stuff written in these columns is like very specific to the book. Will this character do A, B, and C? I need to write a poem as my main character, like very specific goals. So again, I just think this is great. This is a clear your path sheet, so this is also something very specific for prep. So this has, you write down one thing you can do to prepare yourself physically. I put get proper amount of sleep. That's something I personally struggle with. One thing you can do to prepare yourself mentally. One thing you can do to prepare yourself spiritually. One thing you can do to get clear about your goal. One thing you can do to get excited about your goal. And one sign you have a green light. And then it gives you 2 columns to answer those questions. So I figured I would do this one now for October, and then when I start the month of November, I'll kind of go through and fill that out again. And then these are reflections. So kind of just how you feel or where you feel you're at any given point in the process. Okay, this is kind of a break from, well, actually, you know what? I'll show you this at the end because it's not from that Eva Deverell website. So I went ahead and I just printed some of my favorite worksheets from Eva Deverell's website. So this one is a quick character creator. You can kind of see. So all her worksheets look pretty much just like this. It gives you different categories and a little room to write. A lot of times when I'm actually using these, especially because I use Scrivener, and I'll show you guys again in the next video, I fill these out through Microsoft Paint, and then I copy and paste them as an image into my Scrivener files. Sometimes I'll fill these out on paper, but I like to have a blank copy and just do it on my laptop because I may fill one out over and over again for a character. Something may change, or I may use the same template for like 5 characters in a book. So for this one, it's got behaviors, definitions, interests, and limitations, and then it's got different things within those categories. So plot requirements, genre requirements, story requirements, backstories, words people use to describe that character, different behaviors, so like responses to conflict, flaws, how they resolve conflict. This is all like when you're developing a character. And I do have some new characters I've introduced into my story since the first draft, so I figured that one would be good for me. This one is creating mood. So it's got like sight, smell, sounds, textures, tastes, contrast, objects. What are the narrator's emotions? How do they transform the setting? How do they transform the mood? The first thing it asks you, what emotions are you trying to evoke in the reader? So it kind of right away gets you in the mindset to help answer these questions. So there's that one. Another good one, if you're starting out with a new story, is the motivation worksheets. So she breaks these down into 4 different categories. She has person motivations, so like for specific characters. She has event motivations. She has environment motivations. And then she has one for beliefs and values. So you can see that. So like I said, these are, and what I love about these is they're short. You can fill one of these out in like 10, 15 minutes. And like I said, if you're like me, keep the template and you can fill these out over and over and over again. It really is a good way for you to gauge how much growth your characters have gone through. Okay, then the last thing, this is something I also found on Pinterest, and I'm really sorry, I don't know the source of this because I think I just saved it as like a JPEG image. But this is a character detail worksheet, and the text is really tiny, so I'll just read to you. At the top, it's just got a place for you to put the character's name, their age, their appearance, and then I know I showed you the quick character creator here, but I find this one extremely helpful, especially when I'm coming up with a character for like the very first time. So this has a list of 45 questions, and some of them are, what do you know about this character now that they don't know yet? What is their greatest flaw? What is their greatest asset? What is their deepest regret? Their greatest fear? Describe the character's mother, father. Why is this character angry? What calms this character? Who depends on them, and if so, why? How would a stranger describe this character? How would a dear friend or relative describe this character? What's their most notable physical attribute? What else? Describe a recurring dream or nightmare this character might have. Does this character have an obsession? Name it. So what I really like about this one, and again, you can find stuff like this all over Pinterest. If I can find the link to this, I'll leave it in the description, and I'll definitely leave you the description for Eva Deverell's website. But if you can find something like this where it gives you like really, really detailed questions about a character, I find it helpful. Something that I heard or read somewhere last year is you should know every little detail, especially about your main character, even if it's never going to come up in the book, because if you know these little tiny pieces of detailed information about your characters, it will just make them come more alive on the page. So like I said, whenever I decide, especially if it's going to be like a major character in the book, as soon as a new one like pops up from in my brain, I refer to this and I fill one out. And sometimes I'll only get through like 20 of the 45 questions because I don't know that character very well yet. But as I start to write more and develop them, maybe I go back and I do fill out this very first one, the quick character creator. I'll maybe start to learn more about them, and then I can fill out more and answer more of these questions. So that's what I have so far in my prep journal and my prep folder. As the month goes on, I think I'm going to do at least 2 vlogs during the month of October, so you guys can see like if I've added anything else to my prep folder, if there's any like roadblocks that I've come across, anything like that. I will kind of keep you guys posted as far as that goes. But, like I said, I'll be back probably in like the next week. I just have to get a couple files together. And my next video will be showing you guys the program Scrivener. So I'll show you how to start a brand new project, so from scratch. I'll show you kind of like what the templates look like, and then I will show you my Scrivener project from the first draft of my novel, so you can see exactly how NaNoWriMo went for me, and then I'll show you the template I have set up for NaNoWriMo 2018, so you can see kind of like what I've done to prepare already for this year. That way, I think once I show you that, that'll be kind of like everything I use to prepare. So this is like my manual tools, and then Scrivener is more of like the tech side of things. So that's why I decided to split it into 2 parts. But I think that's it for today. Hopefully this has helped you guys. If you guys are doing NaNoWriMo, let me know in a comment and add me on Instagram, J_Kittenberg, because I will be posting all about that on Instagram and kind of like sharing my progress with you guys. So if you want to be writer buds, please, 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 let's do it. But yeah, I think that's it. I'm going to go. Hope you guys are having a great day, a great week, a great month, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.